Prologue. The sleeper of the watchers, and in my sleep visions were shown unto me. The heavens opened, and I beheld the generations of the world, from the dust of Adam to the fire of the end. Book of Enoch. Dream Visions. 1. There are moments in human history when a man ceases to dream as a man and begins to dream as a vessel. Enoch, the great-grandfather of Noah, lived in one such moment. He was neither prophet nor priest, but a scribe, a keeper of secrets. It was said that angels walked with him, that he walked with God and was no more, for God took him. But before he vanished, he saw. He saw everything, the rise and fall of empires, the corruption of the heavens, and the destiny of mankind written as light upon the firmament. Those dreams, recorded in fragments known as the Dream Visions, describe not only the beginning of creation, but its inevitable collapse. Chapter 1. The Vision of Creation. Enoch spoke of the first light not as myth, but as an act of breath, a divine exhalation that summoned order from the formless. He wrote, I beheld the winds that bear the clouds, I saw the path of the sun and the moon, and how all things are fixed by command. To Enoch, creation was not a single moment, but a living structure, a symphony of obedience. Each element, air, water, fire, answered to the voice. But within that harmony lay a silent tension, for even in the earliest visions, Enoch sensed that freedom would one day fracture order. In his dreams, the angels were architects. The watchers descended, not in rebellion at first, but in reverence, to teach, to observe, to love. Yet Enoch recorded a tremor in their purpose. Their eyes were filled with longing, and they looked upon the daughters of the earth. That moment, that gaze, would unravel the cosmos. Chapter 2. The first descent. The dream visions describe a world of pure light darkening by choice. 200 watchers descended upon Mount Hermon. Their leader, Semyaza, bound them by an oath, not to serve heaven, but to fulfill desire. They taught men the art of war, women the art of enchantment. Iron was forged, paints were crushed from stone, and blood was spilled upon the altars of the new gods. Enoch's language grows strange here, filled with symbols, stars leaving their stations, serpents teaching secrets, women giving birth to giants who devoured flesh. It was the beginning of the hybrid age, the time of the Nephilim, those who should not have existed. To later theologians, this was metaphor, but to Enoch, it was history. He saw it, not in story, but in vision, towers rising, oceans reddening, angels weeping in silence. Chapter 3. The lament of the heavens. After the descent, the heavens did not strike immediately. There was pity. There was grief. Enoch describes the archangel Uriel showing him rivers of fire beneath the mountains, a place prepared for the fallen. He heard Gabriel cry out that man had been defiled beyond healing. The earth cried unto heaven, for the blood of men reached unto the gates of the Most High. It is in this lament that the tone of the dream visions turns from awe to sorrow. Enoch's writings become a courtroom record. Heaven is both witness and judge. The watchers plead for mercy. Their sons, the Nephilim, beg for life. But the decree is set, they shall have no peace. Thus began the countdown to the flood. Chapter 4. The vision of beasts. In his later dreams, Enoch saw history unfold as a vision of beasts, a symbolic panorama of humanity's corruption. The white bull, Adam, the first man. The black bull, Cain, whose jealousy stained the earth. The red bull, Abel, whose blood became a curse. The wild beasts, the children of men, scattered and savage. Each generation appeared as flocks of animals, led astray by shepherds who forgot the light. But among them, Enoch saw something darker, a new breed. And there rose from among them a race of great beasts, whose countenance was neither man nor creature. These were the Nephilim made flesh, metaphors of power and domination. To Enoch, they were not merely giants of bone, but symbols of spiritual arrogance. He saw empires built upon blood, rulers with the hearts of lions and the hunger of wolves. Even before Babylon, Enoch foresaw the city of confusion, humanity's tower against heaven. Chapter 5. The fall of the giants. The climax of Enoch's first dream vision is the judgment of the hybrids. He writes of the great voice commanding the waters, of the mountains cracking open, the abysses swallowing cities, of angels chained in darkness until 70 generations shall pass. But perhaps the most haunting passage is this: "And I saw their spirits wandering upon the earth, crying out for bodies that would not receive them." To Enoch, the flood was not an ending. It was containment, an exorcism of flesh, but not of spirit. The watchers were bound, their offspring destroyed, yet their essence lingered. He warned that these spirits, born of heaven and earth, would haunt the living, seeking vessels to enter. That line became the seed of later demonology, the origin of possession itself. Chapter 6, The Renewal. After the waters receded, Enoch saw a new earth, pale and silent. He saw Noah offering sacrifice, and the rainbow arching like a covenant scar. But even in renewal, he sensed repetition. He wrote, "The hearts of men remain as before, though the earth is new." In this melancholy line lies the heart of Enoch's vision: that divine punishment cannot cure human nature, that the cycle of corruption will repeat until the end of days. Chapter 7, The Prophecy of the End. The dream visions shift then from past to future. Enoch is shown 70 generations, representing epochs of mankind. He sees temples rise and fall, prophets slain, messiahs betrayed, and at last, a final age. "I saw a new heaven and a new earth, but the old was still beneath it, weeping. The beasts reappear, now crowned as kings. Wars burn like comets. The watchers whisper again, and then silence, a single trumpet echoing over a field of bones." Enoch's last dream ends not with fire, but with light descending upon darkness, a light that judges, not destroys. Epilogue. The scribe who vanished. Enoch disappears from the record as mysteriously as he entered it. Genesis simply says, "And he was not," but perhaps that is the point. Enoch did not die. He transcended the cycle he foresaw. He became, as later mystics said, Metatron, the voice that records all deeds, the angel of remembrance. His dreams remain, scattered through time like shards of glass, each shard reflecting part of humanity's story, from Eden to the end. The dream visions of Enoch are not prophecy in the modern sense. They are mirrors reflecting both the ancient past and the shadowed present, and perhaps, as Enoch himself wrote, "What has been shall again be, until the watchers are no more." Part 2. The Age of Beasts and the March of Empires. Transition from Part 1. "And the flood washed the blood from the mountains, but not from the hearts of men." Dream visions to 1. The first vision ended with renewal, the waters receding, the rainbow stretched across the sky like a divine scar. But Enoch's sleep did not end, for when the earth was cleansed, the dreams began again. He saw that sin had not drowned, it had merely changed its form. And so the visions continued, revealing how mankind would rebuild the ruins of Eden, not with faith, but with ambition. Chapter 1. The Seeds of Nations. I beheld the beasts once more, and each bore the color of its heart. In this vision, humanity reappears not as men, but as flocks and herds, symbolic forms showing their nature. The white bulls became the descendants of Shem, the keepers of faith. The black bulls descended from Ham, those bound to earth and desire. The red bulls of Japheth spread across the plains, hunters and conquerors. Each group bore within them a fragment of the old corruption. The earth, though reborn, still remembered. Enoch watched as tribes gathered and built cities, first of clay, then of stone, then of iron. He saw the rise of the first kingdoms: Nimrod, the hunter, Babel, the tower that reached to heaven, the tongue shattered by pride. "And I saw men raising a mountain with their hands to pierce the vault of heaven, and angels turned their faces away." The dream's meaning was clear. Humanity, once the victim of rebellion, now inherited the rebellion itself. Chapter 2. The Rise of the Shepherds. The next dream revealed the shepherds of the earth, a metaphor for rulers and empires. "And there arose 70 shepherds, each tending the flock in his own field." Scholars interpret this as a symbolic account of the great civilizations that would follow. Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Persia, Greece, and Rome, each empire a shepherd entrusted to guide, but each in time devouring its own flock. Enoch's tone turns mournful. The shepherds struck the sheep and led them into darkness, saying, "This is the will of the Lord." But the Lord counted their blows. It is one of the earliest condemnations of religious tyranny, a prophecy that power cloaked in holiness would corrupt absolutely. In his dream, even heaven seems weary, watching the same sin unfold across centuries. Empires rise, temples crumble, and the cries of the oppressed echo like thunder. Chapter 3. The Empire of Iron and Clay. In his visions, Enoch saw a strange beast, neither lion, nor bear, nor serpent, but a fusion of all three. Its feet were part iron, part clay, its voice like the grinding of millstones. This image parallels the dream of King Nebuchadnezzar in the book of Daniel, a statue of metal symbolizing successive empires. But Enoch's version is older, darker. He describes a kingdom divided within itself, strong yet brittle, founded upon false union. It devours all, yet rots from inside. Some scholars suggest this points to Rome, the empire that would both spread civilization and crucify truth. Others see it as a timeless warning that every human power eventually collapses under the weight of its own pride. I saw iron mixed with dust and clay pretending to be gold, a haunting line, perhaps the purest description of civilization itself. Chapter 4. The Age of the White Sheep. Enoch's visions grow brighter for a moment. He saw the coming of the white sheep, those who sought righteousness. And among the flocks there arose one white sheep, and the eyes of the Lord were upon him. This has long been interpreted as a messianic prophecy, a foreshadowing of the coming of Christ. The white sheep gathers the lost and heals the blind, guiding them away from the corrupt shepherds. But Enoch also saw betrayal, and the sheep delivered their shepherd to the wolves. He foresaw a Savior slain by those he came to save, a tragedy that mirrors the Passion itself. And when the shepherd was struck down, the flocks scattered once more. Chapter 5. The beasts return after the brief light. Darkness returns, more vast, more deliberate. Then I saw beasts rise again from the sea, greater than the first, their horns numbering 10, their eyes like coals. These are not merely nations. They are systems, ideologies born from the same old corruption. Each beast, though new in form, carries the same hunger. Enoch writes, "And their mouths spoke great things, saying, We shall ascend to the throne of the Most High." It echoes Revelation, the beasts, the false prophet, the image of power raised to be worshipped. But for Enoch, this is not one future event. It is the repeating pattern of history. Each empire becomes the next beast. Each leader believes he is divine. Each civilization devours itself. Chapter 6. The Watchers return. In a moment of dreadful revelation, Enoch dreams again of the Watchers, the fallen angels he once saw chained in darkness. And I saw their prisons opened by the hands of men who knew not what they touched. This chilling line has fascinated theologians for centuries. Could it mean that mankind, through knowledge, will one day release the same forces that destroyed the first world? Enoch describes visions of men who climb the heavens, of fire that speaks, and of images of life made by man's own hand. To modern readers, these could symbolize rockets, AI, or cloning, the recreation of forbidden knowledge. Perhaps Enoch foresaw not just ancient empires, but our own age. And in their pride they became as gods, saying, "We shall make men in our image." The Watcher's sin repeats, not in angels, but in humanity itself. Chapter 7. The Judgment of the Shepherds at the height of his visions. Enoch sees the 70 shepherds, the rulers of earth, summoned before a blazing throne. The books were opened, and the Lord of the sheep sat in his glory. And all the deeds of the shepherds were read before him. One by one, they are judged. Those who slaughtered their flocks are cast into fire. Those who deceived for gain are stripped of crowns. Only a few, who rule with mercy, are spared. The image echoes Revelation's great white throne. But Enoch's account is older, perhaps the first apocalyptic courtroom scene in recorded scripture. And then the dream shifts again. The beasts fall silent. The world burns clean. And from the ashes, a new order begins. Chapter 8. The coming kingdom. I saw a house of white marble, built in the midst of the storm, and its gates were never shut. This final section of part 2 reveals hope, but a fragile one. The righteous are gathered, not by might, but by remembrance. Enoch sees the chosen flock, watched over by unseen angels, walking through valleys of shadow. The new earth is not perfect. It bears the scars of the old, but above it, the heavens shine again, no longer in silence, but in balance. And the eyes of all were lifted upward, and none turned away. This is the restoration. the momentary peace before the final war. Chapter 9. The hidden meanings. Scholars often debate the chronology of Enoch's dream visions, whether they are literal prophecies or symbolic myth. But Enoch's own words blur the line between vision and reality. He writes that history is not linear but cyclical, repeating until the measure of corruption is full. Every generation is a mirror of the last, every empire another Babel. In that light, Enoch's age of beasts is not merely the past, it is our age, still unfolding. And I saw a time when iron would speak and flesh would obey, and the heavens would burn with lights that were not stars. Could this refer to technology? Satellites, weapons? If so, then the prophecy is not about what was, but what is. Epilogue. The vision continues. The dream visions do not end with redemption. They end with suspense. Enoch's final words in this section are haunting. And after these things, I fell again into deep sleep, and the visions returned. The dream was not finished, it only paused, and from that pause would come the third vision, the apocalypse, the final unveiling of heaven and earth. Part 3. The apocalypse of light, from fire to judgment. Prologue. The final sleep. And once again I fell into deep sleep, and the visions of heaven were opened unto me, greater than before, burning with fire. Dream Visions 3-1. Enoch's final vision begins where the last ended, in silence. But this silence is not peace. It is the stillness before thunder. For in this dream, he does not see the earth as before, a place of beasts and shepherds, but a battlefield, where light and shadow prepare for their final reckoning. The scrolls describe this as the apocalypse of light, when the secrets of all ages are revealed and every hidden thing brought into the open. Chapter 1. The sky that burned. Enoch wrote, And I saw the heavens rolled together like a scroll, and from them came fire, mingled with smoke, that devoured the stars. This is the beginning of the end. The sun darkens, the moon bleeds, mountains crack like glass. But Enoch's tone is not of fear, it is of inevitability. For this is not chaos, it is judgment. The dream shows the earth as a furnace. Cities vanish under firestorms. Yet amidst ruin, Enoch sees figures of light, watchers reborn, descending in silence. They carry no swords, no thunder, only mirrors, in which every soul must look upon its reflection. And I saw men fall upon their knees, weeping, for they beheld themselves as they truly were. The apocalypse begins not with death, but with revelation. Chapter 2. The Hall of Records. After the fire, Enoch beholds a mountain of crystal, glowing from within. At its summit stands a hall built of white fire, the house of books. Inside, countless scrolls float in the air, each one alive with light. An angelic figure, tall as the sky, unrolls a scroll before him. These are the deeds of nations, written by their own hands. Enoch watches as the scrolls unfold. Each kingdom, each generation, each soul. Their words and works recorded in light and shadow. And when the scroll darkens, it means the truth has been twisted. Here the dream becomes almost unbearable, a cosmic courtroom, vast beyond imagining. The shepherds stand before the throne. The beasts kneel in chains. And the voice that speaks is neither thunder nor whisper. It is everything. The time of beasts is ended. Let the children of dust stand before their Maker. This is the judgment not of power, but of memory, the unveiling of truth. Chapter 3. The Beast of Fire. Then Enoch sees something new. The beasts return, but changed. They came forth clothed in flame, and the fire was in them, and they in the fire. These are no longer nations or kings. They are ideas, immortal and corrosive, greed, pride, war, dominion. Each takes the form of a beast, devouring its own kind, refusing to die. The angel beside Enoch tells him, These are the spirits of empire, the desires of man-made flesh. For even when the cities crumble, ambition lives on, reborn in every age. Thus, the beasts are eternal, until mankind himself chooses to unmake them. The vision burns with irony. The apocalypse is not inflicted by heaven, it is sustained by man. Chapter 4. The River of Fire. And I saw a river of fire, flowing from under the throne, and all souls pass through it. Unlike hellish torment, this river is purifying. Every spirit must enter it, angels, men, even the watchers. The fire does not destroy, it reveals. Enoch describes souls emerging radiant, others vanishing like smoke. The fire is truth, and what cannot bear truth ceases to exist. He realizes that this judgment is not punishment, but refinement. The righteous are not rewarded, they are made new. The wicked are not tortured, they are unmade. It is divine justice without cruelty, terrifying because it is perfect. And I wept, for mercy was no longer needed. Chapter 5. The Thrones of the Fallen in the next vision. Enoch beholds the thrones of the watchers, now overturned, covered in dust. The once mighty angels who corrupted creation stand naked before the flame. Their crowns melted, and their eyes were filled with the light they had rejected. He recognizes Semyaza, Azazel, and the others. They speak no defense, only lament. Their punishment is eternal consciousness, to see forever what they destroyed. Yet even here, Enoch records something strange, pity. And I pitied them, for they were once as stars, and now they are ash. This moment humanizes even the fallen. The apocalypse is not only the end of man, it is the redemption of creation through fire. Chapter 6. The new heaven after the judgment. Enoch sees a world of light rising from the ashes of the old. No sun, no moon, for the light comes from within all things. And I saw the earth reborn, and the trees bore fruit of light, and rivers ran clear as glass. This is the restoration. The righteous walk beside angels. The beasts are gone. Even the watchers' prisons are empty, for nothing remains to guard. But as Enoch beholds peace, he weeps, because in perfection there is no longer choice, no longer story. And thus even paradise feels hollow. And I long for the sound of a weeping man, for it was the song of freedom. The wisdom of Enoch ends not in triumph, but in longing for the beauty of imperfection. Chapter 7. The hidden vision. Then comes the final secret. One Enoch says he was forbidden to write. He hints at it in a single cryptic verse. And I saw the circle that had no beginning, and the end returning to the beginning, and the watchers waiting at the gates once more. It implies that creation itself is cyclical, that every end is merely the resetting of the divine equation, that the flood, the fire, the fall, all repeat eternally. Enoch realized the apocalypse is not destruction, it is maintenance. The universe must purge itself to remain pure, and so, even after light fills all, the seed of shadow is sown again. Chapter 8. The final words of Enoch. I have written what I saw. Let him who reads understand. These are the last words attributed to Enoch in the dream visions. No farewell, no explanation, just a quiet command, understand. Because the visions were not warnings, they were records. He saw the story of humanity not as prophecy, but as memory, a cycle repeating from generation to generation. The angels fall, the giants rise, the floods come, and somewhere a man dreams again. Epilogue. The scribe and the silence. When Enoch awoke from his final dream, he vanished. Some say he was taken by God, others that he walked into the light of his own vision. But the book remains fragmented, suppressed, rediscovered. Each age finds new meaning in it, reading its symbols through its own fears. To some, it is myth, to others, the first apocalypse. But to those who listen, it is a mirror. And as Enoch's final line fades across the scroll, the narrator's voice breaks the silence. If the visions of Enoch were true, if he saw not the past but the pattern, then tell me, when the sky burns again, and the old beasts rise with new names, will we recognize the dream for what it is? End of Part 3. The Apocalypse of Light, from fire to judgment. He who has eyes to see, let him dream.